Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mythlok with your host, Nitin Nair. Before we begin, once again, a huge thank you to all the people who have started clicking the subscribe button while watching our videos or listening to our podcast on various channels. And thank you so much for doing this because it is really helping us move forward and reach out to a lot more people. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button, please do so. It's just a click from your end, but it goes a long way in helping us achieve our objective of bringing the wonder of mythology to as many people as possible online. Thank you very much once again, and back to the video. Today we are going to be looking at a goddess from the Greek mythology and the region of Greece who is associated with fertility, marriage, and being married to one of the most notorious characters that we have come across in mythology as a whole. Yes, this is Hera, wife of Zeus. Hera was the wife of Zeus and the queen of Olympus. She was also regarded as the goddess of marriage and family. Their union, however, was not a happy one, as Zeus had multiple affairs. Hera was jealous of her husband's numerous affairs, and she would do everything in her power to punish his partners. Hera was the daughter of a titan, Cronus, and the Greek goddess Rhea. Throughout the ancient world, she was worshipped and played an important role in Greek literature. She was often depicted as a rancorous wife who hated the heroines who loved Zeus. Early in the history of Zeus, Hera was regarded as the only lawful wife of the king. She eventually displaced Dione, who shared the oracle at Epirus with Zeus. She was often depicted as a fairly pretty woman who was fully clothed. Hera would often wear a variety of accessories such as a veil, a scepter, and a pomegranate. She sometimes carried a cuckoo, which is a token of how she was taken in by Zeus. She often accompanies herself with a sacred animal such as a peacock. The cow is regarded as an important animal for Hera, and she was depicted as a stern and majestic matron with a peacock alongside her. Hera was the third child of Rhea and Cronus, and she was following in the footsteps of Demeter and Hestia. Like all of her siblings, she was also swallowed by her father and is sometimes regarded as the oldest of the three daughters of Rhea and Cronus. According to some accounts, Hera gave Zeus multiple children. Some of these include Ares, the god of war, Aletheia, who is the goddess of childbirth, Hebe, the goddess of youth everlasting, and Hephaestus, who was the god of fire. She also gave birth to a child who was named Hephaestus in response to Zeus' single-handed birth to Athena. As a wife of Zeus, she had no choice but to be faithful. Even though she was pretty, not many men dared lay hands on her. Zeus would punish Endymion for trying, and Ixion was also tricked into falling in love with a cloud that was made in Hera's image. Hermes then set him on fire. Based on the various cults that existed during this period, Hera is believed to have been a very ancient goddess. Hera's name is usually translated as mistress or lady, and it is assumed that she did not have an original name. Her Roman counterpart was also a goddess, was named after the month of June. Hera is often referred to as white-armed and cow-eyed, and Homer often used these terms to describe her. It was also believed that she would bathe in a spring every year to renew her virginity, which was a common practice of the time. Hera has various possible etymologies, and one of this is that it could be connected to Greek hura, which meant season, or it could be interpreted as a symbol of love, as is in the case with Plato's argument that Zeus loved Hera before he married her. Hera was also an anagram which meant air, according to Plutarch. She was regarded as a queen of heaven and a consort of Zeus. She was also known to be the goddess of marriage and women's life. Hera was also known to be a patron of cities of Smos and Argos. Because of this, she had a similar position to that of Athena at Athens. Her Argive ritual was very agricultural, and she held a shield ceremony at Smos. An armed procession was also held in honor of her. The concept of a city goddess was based on the various functions that were attributed to the goddess of a Greek state. These included being the chief in both war and peace. Hera has not been seen as a prominent figure in popular culture, unlike the likes of Heracles and Zeus. In the 1997 Disney animated film Hercules, she appeared as a background character. The role was an interesting twist on her own story, as she is the mother of Hercules, who is distraught when his infant is mortal and forced to become part of the humans, unlike in mythology where Heracles is the son of Zeus. In another show, Helen of Troy, she is depicted in a scene from Judgment of Paris. Hera was not properly developed in popular depictions, which might reflect the confusion surrounding her personality. In many cases, wherever Hera was mentioned, she was always depicted as a wronged wife of Zeus who went about his philandering ways, leaving a dutiful and faithful wife at home. Her maternal instincts and her protection of women slowly waned as well because of her husband's antics, which made more and more women a rival to Hera. However, Hera continued to maintain her dignity as the queen of Olympus and rarely lost her cool, apart from certain cases, for example, making the life of Heracles a living hell. There are other cases as well where she took revenge on the children or on the lover of Zeus in many stories. This idea of a faithful but vengeful wife is not very common in mythology, and this stands out as the way in which Hera was depicted, which in contrast to the Roman version is slightly different as well. We will be looking at more characters who have an interesting character arc to them in the days to come. But until then, this is your host, Nitin Nair, signing out by reminding you once again that Mythlok is the home of mythology.